Dr. Schuchat, thank you for the work that you are doing. The CDC has been very clear that it is not yet possible to determine the cause of the vaping-related lung disease outbreak. CDC has recommended that people consider not using any e-cigarettes. From that, we gather that nothing is off the table as a possible cause. Let's first describe the general types of e-cigarettes out there. From what I understand, there are two major categories. First, there are nicotine e-cigarettes, which have been the focus of this subcommittee's hearings up to this point. And then second, there are THC e-cigarettes that replicate the effects of marijuana. Dr. Schuchat, you are examining both of those types of products as factors in the current outbreak of lung illness. And is it correct to say that you cannot rule out either as contributing to the outbreak?
Yes, that's correct at this point. We are getting new information in every day, but we think it's very important until we know more that our recommendations be broad. Separate from this outbreak, we are quite concerned about the rise in nicotine-containing e-cigarette use among youth, which is really epidemic. But for this particular outbreak, we don't know yet what the product or products are, or whether they're components of the products that might be contained in both nicotine and THC-containing devices.
I want to focus on the nicotine e-cigarettes for a second. In the Illinois and Wisconsin published analysis, almost 20% of the victims there were using only nicotine e-cigarettes, and overall, 61% of the victims were using, among other e-cigarettes, nicotine e-cigarettes as well. So, Dr. Schuchat, there may be people out there who would like for this to be a THC-only problem so that they can go back to vaping nicotine e-cigarettes. If almost 20% of victims are using only nicotine e-cigarettes, do we still need to be concerned about all e-cigarettes at this point?
At this point, I think caution regarding all products is recommended. It may not even be the THC or nicotine part. It may be additives or substances that may be common. It may be material that is not labeled appropriately, and so we really do think consumers need to be quite cautious right now.
Got it. And you can't rule out any brand of e-cigarettes at this point, right?
No single brand, product, substance, or additive has been ruled out as of today.
I'd also like to better understand some of the possible contributing factors to the outbreak that you're considering. First of all, on August 22nd, CDC said, quote, even though the cases seem similar, it is not clear if these cases have a common cause or if they are different diseases with similar presentations. Does that mean that it could be multiple separate problems with e-cigarettes that are causing similar results?
Yes, that's right. The respiratory symptoms are very nonspecific, and the X-ray findings are diverse. And so we also have cases in nearly all states at this point. Whether the products in one state are the same as the problematic products in another, or whether manipulation of the products is what's going on, we don't know. So I think we have to have a very open mind.
We don't know the full impacts of vaping. If so many different vaping products are causing the same result, could the common link possibly be the process of vaping itself, inhaling aerosolized liquid particles into our lungs?
We don't know enough about the aerosol that vaping produces or that e-cigarette produces in terms of the short and longer term health impacts, and products may, it may be that the process itself is risky.
All e-cigarettes include solvents like propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. While they are considered safe in food, a recent Baylor study found those solvents, when inhaled, reduce the lung's ability to fight infection, increase the chances of getting the flu, and of dying from it. Dr. Schuchat, these solvents are in all e-cigarettes. Can the CDC rule them out as a factor in the current outbreak?
We have not ruled out any substance within the e-cigarettes or vaping products yet.
Many of the victims were using flavored products. To add flavor to an e-cigarette requires additional chemicals on top of the various solvents that we just talked about. Can CDC rule out the chemicals and flavors as a factor in the current outbreak?
No, we can't.
Dr. Schuchat, I just want to remind everybody that you took a far-reaching warning or admonition to the public. That is, the CDC advises the public to consider not using any e-cigarettes at this point. The CDC also advises that those who do not vape not to start, that children and pregnant women never use e-cigarettes, and for those trying to quit smoking to use an FDA-approved cessation device. E-cigarettes are not approved by FDA for smoking cessation.